JT Shaver here with New Layer, and today we'll be taking a look at an absolute unit of a light. This is the Pixapro LED 200B MKIII, and if you're looking to save money on a gym membership and pick up a new light at the same time, you're in luck. I'm just saying, if Big Chungus were an LED light, the build quality on this light is excessive. I don't know how else to put it, but this light is an absolute beast, and I don't mean that in a bad way. If you're looking for something small and portable, watch my video on the Godox ML60 or Nanlite Forza 60, but if you want something with some girth, look no further. You promised you wouldn't use the word girth in a video again. The main body is all metal, and any plastic on this light has a nice feel and finish. The mounting yoke on this light is really sturdy with not one, but two rosette style locking knobs. Paired with the size and heft of this light, you'll have no issues with sagging, even with really big modifiers. There are 4 preset buttons on the back panel of this light. You set the presets with a long press and recall them with a short press, and they remember both brightness and color temperature, so they really come in handy for your most used settings. The switches and the knobs on the back also feel great. The back panel does look a little unrefined, and I think it could benefit from a slight visual design overhaul. It is something really minor, and it doesn't affect the usability of this light at all. It comes with an AC adapter and a 7-inch reflector that's the same shape and size as the SL Mark I series of Godox lights. The included cord for the AC adapter is for 220 volts, so if you're in the US like me, you'll need a 110 volt cord. I have a million of these lying around, but if you need to buy one, they're only $5 or $10. Also included is a 7-inch diffusion disc, which I like more than might be considered normal. The COB itself is only a couple inches in diameter, so if you add the 7-inch diffusion disc, you are going to get significantly softer shadows. If you're lighting something really small, you could slap on the diffusion disc and move the light really close to your subject and get pretty soft shadows without having to bust out an entire large softbox. Going back to the COB itself, since this is a bicolor light, there is going to be a combination of 3200 Kelvin and 5600 Kelvin LEDs on the chip. The original layout for this light had the different color LEDs split into a few separate rows, and the issue with that is sometimes you can get weird striped shadows if you're using the light without diffusion. The newest iteration of this light has the bicolor LEDs dispersed more evenly across the COB. So by doing that, they've eliminated the issue with double shadows whether you're using diffusion or not. As far as fan noise goes, this one is pretty quiet. Because the body of this light is metal and pretty bulky, it acts as a heat sink and takes some of the cooling work away from the fan. So because the fan has less work to do, it moves less air and makes less noise. I'll play sample audio of the fan in this light versus other popular lights so you can hear them yourself. I did boost the audio in all of these clips the same just so you can hear them better. When it comes to brightness, this light is surprisingly bright for a 200 watt bicolor light. Usually it's safe to assume that you can take half the wattage of a bicolor light and compare it to a single color light of the same wattage. So in this case, since this light is 200 watts, you might think it compares in brightness to something like the SL100W from Godox, which is 100 watts. In reality, it's less than 1/3 stop dimmer than the 150 watt versions of the latest generation of Godox lights. I measured this light with my Sekonic C800 from 1 meter using the bare bulb and got a minimum color temperature of 3243 Kelvin and a maximum color temperature of 5822 Kelvin. So it's only 43 Kelvin off the advertised temperature on the low end and 222 Kelvin off on the high end, which is great for a bicolor light. At the minimum color temperature, the brightness was 5140 lux, which is the equivalent of f6.3 at ISO 100 and 1/50th of a second shutter speed. At the maximum color temperature, the brightness was 6360 lux, which is almost f7.1. So it's a 1220 lux difference, which might seem like a lot, but it's actually less than 1/3 of a stop across the entire color temperature range. I got a CRI between 94.9 and 96.2 with R9 values in the high 80s and R13 and R15 values in the low to mid 90s, so all good numbers for accurately rendering skin tones. I got an SSI of 81 versus the tungsten standard and 72 versus the daylight standard. These are both pretty much middle of the road compared to other LEDs, although some bicolor lights suffer a bit when it comes to color reproduction, while the LED 200B MKIII does a good job across the entire range. I did get color correction numbers of 1.7 green and 1.5 green on each end of the range, so it does have more of a magenta tint than some other lights. LEDs do tend to turn more green over their life and during prolonged use as well. So this light could be better as far as tint goes, but as long as you're setting a custom white balance before shooting, it shouldn't be a deal breaker, especially because most other LEDs have a light magenta tint themselves. If you want to see all the brightness and color accuracy measurements I took for this light, I'll have a link in the description to my light comparison tool. It uses real-world measurements instead of manufacturer-provided specs, so you can more easily and fairly compare lights from different brands. You can control this light with a remote control, although it's not included. The remote also requires a separate dongle that you have to plug into the USB port on the back of the light. The remote is only around 18 pounds or $25 US, so it is relatively cheap. I don't have the remote, so all I can really say is that needing a dongle is kind of antiquated. But if you don't have the need for remote control, then it's obviously not going to matter to you. The power input on this light is a 24 volt 4-pin XLR port. So you can power this light with a 26 volt V-mount battery, and it comes with 2 elastic Velcro straps to attach the AC adapter to a light stand. So it's not the most elegant solution, but it is better than nothing. For any light manufacturers watching this video, please design your AC adapters to clip directly into a V-mount slot. This light also doesn't come with any kind of carrying case, so that is an extra cost to consider. The Pixapro LED200B MKIII comes in at around 430 pounds or $475 US. Shipping to the US will also run you another $99 or so. That might seem pretty pricey, but it is in the middle of the range as far as Bi-Color COBs go. Prices range on other lights like the GVM G100W at $300 or the Weeylite Ninja 400 at $350 to something like the Intellytech X-100 at $700 or the Aputure 300X at $1,200. Obviously, all of these lights have their strengths and weaknesses, but I think the Pixapro is pretty fairly priced, even considering the fact that you might have to buy a separate carrying case or pay additional shipping. If you do live in the UK or somewhere else where they offer free shipping, it's an even better deal. The LED200B MKIII is brighter than most other Bi-Color COBs except the Aputure 300X, and it's right in the middle of the pack as far as color accuracy goes. It does lack things like some of these other lights have, like an external controller with integrated V-mount support or native support for remote or app control. I do also have full reviews on the G100W, the X100, and the Ninja 400 if you want to check those out as well. Overall, if you want a simple, bright, and quiet Bi-Color LED that can also withstand a 50 caliber sniper round, this light is worth considering. I'll have links to everything that I mentioned in the description, and they are affiliate links, but it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it really helps me create more videos like this. I do gear reviews, lighting setups, and other videos every week, so if you like that sort of thing, make sure you hit subscribe, and also follow me on social media because I post a lot of stuff there that doesn't make it to YouTube. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.